Hey guys, welcome to another painting lesson. I'm Mike Ferris, and in this video we're going to do the steps on this bokeh piece. All the tools and colors and materials are down in the description box below. For help with the drawing process, you can get the traceable image over on Patreon in 2 standard canvas sizes. So now let's get started. So I'll be starting off with an 8x10 pre-stretched canvas and my number 12 flat brush to get started with. And on my palette I'll have Phthalo Blue, permanent black, and titanium white to start with. So I'm going to take a little blue, just a touch of black to dull it down just a little bit, and to that mostly titanium white. I want this very light dull blue color, and I will use this to start off with for the sky in the background. So with that same value, I'll just block in the water down here as well. Okay, so I'm going to take some blue and black and I'll start filling in with the building with this value. So as I bring that dark value over, I want to be careful not to go into my bokeh lights, and I want to go around them carefully because those are going to be some yellows and other bright colors, and it's going to be really hard to cover a dark surface. So now as I get over here to the right, it's going to be less paint on the brush, so I want to wipe it off and pretty much just have barely on the brush so that I can go here now and give this really nice fuzzy line and blend that in a way up into that sky value, and that's going to really help to show those buildings that are out of focus. Okay, now just going into titanium white and a touch of black now with the number 2 flat brush, and no water and just a teeny bit of paint on the brush. So I'm going to make these fuzzy out of focus indications of some building details, kind of like so. Okay, so now I'm going to go into some titanium white now, and again wipe most of that paint off my brush. And I want to go in here and just give a little bit of some bright highlights here and there, but not everywhere. And it just helps to show a little bit of depth and dimension. And even though this is out of focus, this gives a little bit more of an impressionist look. And I like that. So it's all fuzzed out, as you can see. Okay, so now I'm going to go into some black and a lot of that off my brush. I'm going to work some of that just a teeny bit back over some of that, and give the indications of maybe some windows and columns in there like so. Okay, so now my palette, I have light magenta, regular magenta, cad orange, cad yellow, burnt umber, raw umber, and over here I have violet. So now I'm going to start blocking in the lower parts, and with this I'm going to start with my number 12 flat brush, and I'm going to go into light magenta and magenta. And now just a touch of this raw umber to dull it just a little bit, and I'll just start blocking in right here with this. Okay, no cleaning. I'm going to go into some violet now and a touch of black, and take this dark value and let's block in right here. Okay, going into just permanent black, and let's go here where the building is reflecting into our water. Okay, so as paint leaves the brush again, I want to use this where I can do this fuzzy out of focus line, and so where the building line is fuzzy, so the reflection of it in the water is as well. And so just very lightly again, and we'll just fuzz that down like so. And also with black, I'm going to fill in the cracks as well in our brick sidewalk. Okay, now with a clean brush, I'm going to take some violet now, a little touch of light magenta, and a touch of phthalo blue, so it's this royal violet blue color. And so with this, and my number 10 flat brush now, I'm going to hit just some of the brick, and I'll just start blocking in like so. So now to that same color, I'm going to take some raw umber to darken it down a bit, and I just want to go back in with some of this. Okay, no cleaning, and I'm just going into some light magenta, just a touch of regular magenta, some white to bring it up, and I'm going to fill in the other part of this brick. Alright, without cleaning again, some more titanium white, and I'm just going to tap into some of that magenta mixture and just a teeny bit of a teeny bit of paint. You can see how transparent it is that way when there's hardly any paint on my brush. And of course, against that dark background makes it easy to do that. So I'm going to go up here and give the indications of some bokeh stuff happening. Okay, so now going into magenta, some Cad Orange, some light magenta, and tapping off that paint because very little paint on the brush or I'll lose that fuzzy edge and therefore I won't have a very out of focus effect. So now I'm just going to pick up some titanium white now, and this is my number 4 natural round bristle brush. These are excellent for making this effect and getting those fuzzy edges, so I highly recommend that type of brush for that. So now I'm going to take some violet now, a little touch of black, and most of that color off my brush, and mostly titanium white. So this is a very light, dull, muted violet here. And again, wiping a lot of that color off my brush and putting it where I want it the heaviest first, and then as paint runs off the brush, I could go up and just fade that up into that dark value as well as down in the lighter stuff. Okay, without cleaning, now I'm just going to take more titanium white, and I want to brighten this up a bit. Alright, so now I'm going to take some light magenta now and titanium white. Let's brighten this up. And I'll start again where I want it the brightest and the heaviest, and then as paint runs low, I will blend that out into that darker value, and this will really enhance this bokeh effect. Okay, so with the value left on my brush, this is going to be the start of how we make this out of focus sidewalk and all these bricks. So these are the highlights and all the different brick details that are out of focus. So as you can see, a dry brush and very little paint left on the brush. And this is how we do this, and you can already see how that's starting to achieve that bokeh effect. Alright, going into more titanium white, and let's brighten some things up in the same methods. Okay, now with that light magenta, I want to add more of this red magenta and tapping off that paint, and just very little paint on the brush, and going on the outside with this value really helps to add a nice glow and some shine to this bokeh effect. Okay, now I'm going back to my number 2 flat brush and some violet and a touch of black to that. And now titanium white to bring that up. And again, very little paint on the brush. And again, with this light value, I want to show some out of focus indications of the brick sidewalk. Alright, now I'm going to go into some light magenta now and just a touch of raw umber and now some titanium white to bring that up. And again, most of that paint off my brush, and very lightly again, I just want to strike some of this magenta highlight out there. Okay, now more titanium white and tapping off my brush again. And once more, let's go back in and sort of glaze over this. So as you can see with this light value, I'm just barely glazing over. This is really helping to enhance that bokeh effect and really show this out of focus sidewalk. So I'm just going to take and just strike stuff here and there using that magenta and some more of that violet here and there, and again some of those dark values, but I'm not going to cover up all that glaze effect because I don't want to lose that out of focus. So again, just putting the details but in an out of focus way, and the indications are clear as mud, if you want to call it that. So now I'm going to take some blue and some black, a little bit of titanium white, and again, this is my number 2 flat brush. And with this, again, tapping off that color. And I want to go out here and make some of this water indication. So let's just kind of throw some of these out here. And this will really help to bring out that water detail. Okay, no cleaning, and some phthalo blue and a little titanium white. So I want to add more of this color into our water. And because it is in water, the reflection is just a little bit darker. Okay, let's go in and pick up a little bit of violet into that color and just a touch of permanent black and blue into that. So this makes more of a royal color out of this, and I just wanted to enhance this color just a little bit. So as it gets up here, very little pressure, and I'll just fade that out into that lighter value. Okay, going back into titanium white now, and this is my number 10 flat brush, but you can use whatever brush you're comfortable with. And a little bit more pigment on my brush because I want to lay it down and cover back over some of this blue. So where I want it the heaviest, which was up top like so, and then I'll just fade that down. Okay, no cleaning, just going to take some blue and black now, less white. This is a darker value now. And let's just put the indications of some water ripples. Okay, now going back into phthalo blue, a little touch of black, a little light magenta into that, more phthalo blue, a little bit more light magenta. So with this sort of mixed up color here, let's put that here and there, but not everywhere, and I'll just strike that into the bricks here. Okay, no cleaning, and I'm taking just permanent black now, and let's fill in the rest of our water here. So as I get on the edge here, I'm just going to drag that dark value out into it just a little bit, but I'm not going to cover it all up. And then this way it helps to preserve the bokeh edge of the building as well as giving some waterline details. Okay, without cleaning now, I'm just going to go into some more blue and black and some titanium white now. So let's do something really cool. I'm going to take just a teeny bit of paint on that brush, most of it off my brush, and if I go on the edge of a building line like this, you can really enhance that bokeh out of focus effect for an object. So that's just a trick I wanted to show you there and how that really enhanced that. So now let's go into some violet now, just a touch of black and some of this light magenta, and now more phthalo blue into that. And let's go and strike these bricks here and there. Alright, just going to go now into some light magenta and titanium white. Let's strike the edges here and show some highlight stuff happening. Okay, so now I'm picking up more pigment and this time more paint on my brush because I want to put some of this sidewalk in focus. So now I'm going to tap some texture details with this dark value here and there. And this will contrast against some of that bokeh stuff. Okay, now just going to pick up some phthalo blue and some black, more phthalo blue than black, and a little titanium white, and this will be the water in the cracks. Okay, so now I'm just going to pick up some titanium white now, and with this I'm going to fill in just a little bit of these striking highlights of where the water is between these bricks here. And of course I don't want to cover up all that dark value, so now I'm just going to take permanent black and let's go into some of the other cracks here with this. Okay, now let's go into some magentas here, both the light and the regular, with some titanium white. And it's more light magenta than the regular red magenta. And with this, I'm going to go in and strike this back in and push some color back. And again, another layer is more volume, more depth, more texture, more dimensions. So now I'm just picking up more of that light magenta again and striking some stuff here and there with that. Okay, so with less paint on my brush, I'm going to go up into this bokeh area, and as you can see, the key to bokeh is very little paint on the brush and establishing and keeping and maintaining these fuzzy lines. So now I'm just going to go into titanium white, no cleaning yet, and a little bit of this violet to that. And let's lighten that again, and a little bit more violet for some more color there. So now I'm just going to go in and strike some foreground highlights right here. Okay, with just a teeny bit of white on my brush, just hardly at all, this is going to be another bokeh effect as I glaze over the foreground like so. So as you can see up close, as I glaze over, this really puts this out of focus, and I won't do all of this part of the sidewalk because I want some details to contrast against some of that bokeh. So again, just lightly over it, and I'll go in there with values with barely any paint on the brush as well and fuzz that in with some of that glazing effect, and that'll really bring that out. So now I'm just going to take some of that violet and a little magenta, and as you can see, I'm just going to go over it with barely any paint on the brush at all. and really settle that in there and make that very fuzzy and out of focus. So now let's get some permanent black, just tapping it off a little bit, and let's scratch some of this dark value in. Okay, with a clean brush now, just a little bit more titanium white, and again, just barely any paint and glazing back over again. Okay, again, just barely any paint on the brush. This is light magenta, and let's just glaze this back in, and this really puts the color back in without taking away the fuzzy bokeh effect. Okay, so now I'm going to take some more value here, and as you can see, it's not fuzzed out because I have more paint on my brush this time. So this is really how we differentiate between the bokeh and the in focus, is we just take more paint and make more hard lines versus little paint with fuzzy lines. So now I've got some matte medium here, and I'm just going to shake that up just a little bit and pour that in a separate container because it does run like water. And so now with my number 4 natural round bristle brush, I'm going to take some of this Cad Orange and just a touch of burnt umber into that to dull it down, and now titanium white to bring it up, and just a little color on the brush. And I want to take now and put it into this matte medium. So I'm going to go in here and just start putting in some of these bokeh lights to start with, and these will be some transparent ones. Okay, now just grabbing more Cad Orange to brighten this up a little bit, add some more color to that, tapping that color off as you can see, and just going back in with some of this, and just going to put a few here and there. So as I go in here, I can also take my fingers and tap it out just like this, and that makes it a little bit more transparent. Okay, now I'm going to take some Cad Orange and this time some Cad Yellow into that to make it more vibrant and brighten it up. And let's put one right here. Okay, now taking some Cad Yellow now and just a touch of burnt umber into that to dull it just a bit. And a little orange into that. So again, with my natural round bristle brush, let's go in and I want to brighten this up like so, and where I want it the heaviest first, and as paint runs off the brush, I want to do something and fuzz this outside, and this really shows some enhanced bokeh effect. Okay, let's pick up some violet now and just a touch of black into that, most of that color off my brush, and titanium white. I want this very light, dull lavender color. Let's go around this. Okay, with a clean brush now, going into just Cad Yellow, and let's start filling in these really bright, vibrant yellow lights here. So this is a heavy body medium yellow that I'm using as opposed to the regular, say, Liquitex Basics, because with yellow, it is the most transparent color there is, and I didn't want to have to spend too much time getting these yellow lights to pop and become really bright, and it's also why I left them open, because as you know, with dark colors and trying to put yellow especially on top of that, it would have taken a lot of time and a lot of layers to really bring out this opaque, bright vibrance of that yellow against that black. So now I'm just going to take the Magenta Red, a little orange, some white, and a little bit more orange into that. So now I'm starting to get vibrant with my colors, and let's go in and fill this in. And now more Magenta Red. And this is a clean brush this time, and I want to make some of these red lights as well. So with paint left on the brush, and especially against that dark background, it helps to make these transparent ones just like that, and that really mixes it up and brings out more interest. So again, more Cad Orange and more Titanium White, tapping off that color. And let's go back in and put a few things with that here and there. So now with a clean brush and just Titanium White where I want it the heaviest and brightest, and just a teeny bit of paint on the brush, and also right here with this white, let's brighten up some of these things. Okay, let's take some Cad Yellow now, and I want to enhance and build a glow around this. So just a little Cad Yellow left on the brush, and I was able to put a transparent one there. Okay, more Cad Yellow, a touch of burnt umber into that. And this is my number 2 flat brush here. And let's start some of these bokeh water reflections here. So I'll just block in with this general value there. And so now let's go into some Cad Orange and a little burnt umber, and more Cad Yellow into that. And let's strike some of these waterline details through this. Okay, with my number 2 flat brush and just permanent black, I'm going to go in and strike some of these water lines and break up some of these bokeh reflections. Okay, into some blue and black and Titanium White. This is a very light muted Payne's Gray, that's what I meant to say. So right there in the foreground, just scratching that in just a little teeny bit with a little paint on the brush. You can see those fuzzy lines. And now with more paint, let's put that same value and show some more waterline and just some more color in the water over here, like so. Okay, going in with a clean brush with just Magenta Red and just very little paint, let's build a very nice glow around this bokeh light here, and also a little bit around this one. Okay, with a clean number 2 flat brush and just Titanium White, and notice there's more pigment on my brush because the paint is thicker. There's not fuzzy lines really. This is the detailed part of the sidewalk, and I want to strike some highlights with this. Okay, just magenta now, and with this, let's reflect some of that into the water right here. Okay, so that's it. I went ahead and signed, and again, I want to thank you all for your support and all your watch time. Don't forget to subscribe for more video lessons I'll be putting out on a weekly basis. If you're not feeling too shy, go ahead and post your results on this. I'd love to see how this turned out over on my Facebook Live page at the Acrylic Asylum with Mike Ferris. Let me hear your questions and comments below, and until next time, happy painting, everyone.